A new crush, a new love. As I walked into the crowded cafe, my heart raced with anticipation. I spotted him sitting alone, lost in thought. I mustered up the courage to approach him, my palms sweaty and my voice shaky. "Hi, I'm Sarah," I said, trying to sound confident. He looked up, a hint of surprise in his eyes. I knew he didn't know me, but in that moment I felt a connection that transcended words. We talked for hours, sharing stories and laughter. It was as if we had known each other for a lifetime. As the sun set and the cafe emptied, he reached out and held my hand. "I'm glad you came over," he whispered, his voice soft and sincere. In that instant, I knew that this was the beginning of something beautiful. A new love, a new chapter in my life. And as we walked out into the night, hand in hand, I couldn't help but feel grateful for taking that leap of faith. Sometimes all it takes is a simple hello to change your world. When the past comes knocking. I hadn't felt this kind of excitement in years. Jake and I had been texting nonstop since our coffee shop meeting, and our first few dates felt effortless, like we'd known each other forever. But happiness never comes without complications. One evening, as we walked toward my apartment, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at the screen and felt my stomach drop. Mark. I hadn't heard from my ex in over a year. My fingers hovered over the screen before I locked it and shoved my phone away. Not now. Not ever. Or so I thought. Later that night, another message lit up my screen. "We need to talk." I should have deleted it. I should have ignored him, but instead, I found myself staring at the words, my chest tightening. I told myself I didn't care anymore. But curiosity, and maybe a lingering, unresolved pain, made me respond. When I walked into the cafe the next day, Mark was already there, waiting. His eyes held something I hadn't seen in them before, regret. "I made a mistake, Sarah," he said the moment I sat down. "Leaving you was the biggest regret of my life." My breath caught. I should have felt satisfaction, but all I felt was the weight of everything I had worked so hard to move past. Jake's laugh echoed in my mind, the way he looked at me like I was the most incredible person in the world. "It's too late," I whispered. But as I walked away, doubt clung to me. Could I really move forward when my past was still reaching for me? The fight that almost ended us. I didn't tell Jake about meeting Mark right away. I convinced myself it didn't matter. Mark was my past, and Jake was my future, but secrets have a way of festering. One evening, over dinner, Jake studied me carefully. I could feel his gaze lingering, searching. "Is something wrong?" he asked. I hesitated. The words were on the tip of my tongue, but they felt like poison. Still, I forced them out. I ran into my ex. His fork stilled. Ran into, or met with? I swallowed hard. I met with him. The moment the words left my lips, I saw his expression change. A wall went up between us. "Why?" His voice was calm, but I could hear the storm underneath. "It was closure," I said, but even I wasn't sure if I believed it. He let out a slow breath, pushing his plate aside. "Did you tell me because you wanted to be honest, or because you feel guilty?" His words struck like a punch. My throat tightened. "Jake, it didn't mean anything." "Then why didn't you tell me sooner?" Silence stretched between us. Jake pushed his chair back and stood. I don't know if I can be with someone who has one foot in the past. And just like that, he was gone. As the door swung shut behind him, a hollow ache spread through my chest. Had I just lost the best thing that ever happened to me? Love isn't easy, but it's worth it. Days passed, and I was miserable. Jake's absence was a hole in my chest I couldn't fill. The worst part? I had done this. I had let doubt creep in where it didn't belong. I had to fix this. One evening, I stopped by the coffee shop, the same one where we met. I had no idea if he would be there, but when I walked in, my heart nearly stopped. Jake was sitting in the corner, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. He looked up, and for a moment, time stood still. I forced my legs to move and sat across from him. My hands trembled as I reached for my cup. "I messed up," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. He exhaled, rubbing his temple. "Yeah, you did." I winced. "But I don't want to lose you over it." He studied me, his jaw tight. "Sarah, I like you a lot, but I need to know you're all in." I swallowed hard. "I am." A long silence stretched between us. I held my breath. Then, slowly, he reached for my hand, his fingers curling around mine. "Then let's try again." A breath I hadn't realized I was holding escaped me. I hadn't lost him, not yet. A new love, a forever love. Months passed, and Jake and I grew stronger. The doubts, the fears, we faced them together. One crisp autumn morning, we revisited the coffee shop where it all began. The smell of espresso and cinnamon filled the air, wrapping around me like a warm memory. Jake smiled at me from across the table. "Do you ever think about that first day?" I laughed. "You mean when you spilled coffee on yourself?" "Hey, I was nervous," he chuckled. Then his face softened. "But seriously, that day changed everything for me." My heart swelled. "Me too." He reached into his pocket and my breath hitched as he pulled out a small velvet box. Sarah, I don't just want a new love, I want a forever love. With you. Tears welled in my eyes. Yes, because despite all the pain, despite the mistakes, we had found something real, and we weren't letting go.